Hello everyone. This is a file storage application. The reason behind making this application was a problem. The problem was whenever user store their files in their local devices such as like laptops or computers, there is always a possibility of losing their data. If they do not have stored the backup in the cloud or anywhere else, they may face some kind of consequences. So to solve this problem, we have made a file application. This application will use a cloud to store the user's file and data. So this application can upload the file to the cloud, download the file from the cloud, and delete a file from the cloud. And apart from that, here user will have an option to view the list of the uploaded files. So let me show you the implementation and workflow of our application. So we are using front end as React, backend as Node.js, Express.js, AWS SDK. The cloud that we are using to store the data is AWS S3 bucket. And apart from that, we have deployed our application on Heroku. So what first happens is user, as I told you, the user has an option to upload, download, delete, and view the list of the files. So user will interact with the front end application. There the user will get the upload file. For example, if a user want to upload a file to S3 bucket, so the user will have an option to upload the file to S3. And apart from that, user will be able to see all the previous file that has been uploaded to the S3 bucket if there are any file already uploaded. So now comes the front end part. So user will, like, let's say user wants to upload a file, so user will select a file. Now click on the upload button. Now this application will contact the front end part. So the front end is made using the React.js. So after receiving the request from the user, the front end application will call the APIs of the server which has been made in the Express.js and Node.js. So if a user want to upload the file, so the front end application will send the uploaded file by the user to the server. The front end application is made in the React and it uses XOIs to call the APIs of the backend. Now the backend application is, as I told you, is made in the Node.js and Express.js. After receiving the front end request, the backend application will call AWS SDK for further to proceed. Now AWS SDK is a development tool. This development tool is provided by AWS itself. It is used because of its simplicity. The simplicity of using AWS services, as it provides certain libraries that make it very easier to contact the S3 bucket part. So one more thing, like here comes the IAM role. Why IAM role is used? Because IAM generates the policy for a particular S3 bucket. It is used to securely control access to AWS services. IAM allows us to create and manage the AWS users. And apart from that, it provides us permission, like who can access the S3 bucket and all. And now comes the AWS Lambda function. The AWS Lambda function is used because here you can see there is a get signed URL, right? So AWS Lambda function here we have used to perform get signed URL API. So this provides a signed URL for each file loaded in the S3 bucket to make S3 operations more secure. So that's why we are using AWS Lambda function. And apart from that, as I told you that we are using Heroku, our whole application has been deployed on Heroku. So Heroku, as we know, is a platform as a service, and it is highly scalable, and the application runs in the Heroku Dynos container. So the Dino container is very lightweight Linux container, so that's why we are using Heroku. So after this is the sequence diagram of our application. So here you can see these are like the APIs to upload the file, list, delete, download. So user will perform these like operations in the front end React application. So let's go one by one. So for the upload the file, user will choose a file and then upload. Now the front end application will try to post this. You use the post method because the because he wants to upload, the user wants to upload the file to S3 bucket, so that's why we are using post here. So after getting the post request, the AP, here you can see the Node.js or Express.js backend will upload using the AWS SDK. Now AWS SDK will perform certain operations like authentication and authorization, such kind of thing, and then it will upload to AWS S3 bucket. So here after uploading, this arrow shows the response from like AWS S3 bucket will respond to AWS SDK, SDK will respond back to the server, server will respond to upload file, and so on. Similarly goes with the list file. So if a user want to list whatever the files that has been uploaded to the S3 bucket, so here that's why we are using here a get thing. So using get, the user can list all the objects through AWS SDK. Now AWS SDK will again call to AWS S3 bucket, and again this arrow shows the response part. So again to delete file, the API dot delete will be called, and then the Node.js Express server will call delete object API, and then AWS SDK will perform the delete thing. That same thing happens with the download file. Now code and technology and instructions. So for this application we are using the front end, as I already mentioned, in the React, and the back end we are using Node.js, Express.js, and AWS SDK. So we are in this application, our cloud application, we are using two kinds of cloud. First one is the AWS, second one is the Heroku. So in the AWS particularly we are using AWS S3 and AWS Lambda function to store and retrieve the files. So, and this application, as you already have seen here also, and in the architecture part also, so we are using AWS SDK. So apart from that, this application uses AWS SDK because it simplifies the use of AWS services. It is very easy to use and like get the data from the AWS services like S3 bucket. So apart from that, Heroku, this application, as I told you, has been deployed in the Heroku itself, and Heroku is a PaaS application, which is a platform as a service, and this is a like, it is highly scalable and it is very easy to deliver and scale the application. So that's why we have used Heroku. Now comes what cloud services we have used in the application. So first one is the AWS S3 bucket. This AWS S3 bucket is used to store the files, and then we have used AWS Lambda function. This is very important part because this Lambda function is used to get a signed URL, and this signed URL function, with the get signed URL function, we get a pre-signed URL for each of the object respective to the S3 bucket itself. Then IAM roles. IAM roles is one of the most important part of like this project, because IAM roles, using IAM roles, it like defines the access, control access to the AWS resources like S3 bucket in our case. So using IAM roles, a user can authenticate and authorize permission to the S3 bucket. So that's why it is very important. Now, as I told you that we have deployed our application on Heroku. So Heroku is a platform as a service, and then comes Heroku Dynos. This acts as a container. So Heroku Dynos is a collection of like Linux container. So that what it is very like lightweight container. So that is the advantage of using the Heroku Dynos. Now comes AWS configuration part. So first thing what we need to configure, in the making of the project, is first we need to configure S3 part. So why we need to configure S3 first? Because here we will get our AWS bucket name, region, access key, and secret access key. These four things are very crucial in our project. These four things are very important. So first we need to configure the S3 bucket part, and after first creating a bucket, we need to create a IAM role. This IAM role will provide the policy for the bucket. So here you can see, and for the policy we will configure like who are the users who are going to use our S3 bucket. So in IAM role itself, we need to define the users who are able to access the S3 bucket. So these three things first we need to configure in the S3 part. So we need AWS bucket name, AWS region, AWS access key, and AWS secret access key. So these four things we will get, and these four things we need to put in the .env of our application. I will explain the .env part later on. So first let's go to the S3 configuration part. So for that, let me show you. So this is my GitHub part of this project, and here I've explained each and every the details and each and everything that a person needs to perform to create this project. So first I have explained each and every command here. So first, as I told you, we need to configure the S3 bucket. So first we need to log into our AWS account. Then we need to go to the S3 part. So in S3 we will get an option here in the buckets part. You can see here is an option of create bucket. So we just need to click on the create bucket part. After creating the bucket, there is an option to add a bucket name. So here you can see the bucket name must be unique and must not contain spaces and or letters. So you need to provide a unique bucket name here, and here you will get an option to to your AWS region, and if you want you may change it, but I have just set it as a default only. So after creating the bucket name, we will just go to adding the bucket name. We will just click on the create bucket part. So after creating the bucket, we will see our bucket has been created in the console, and we already got the first thing that was required for our application. So as I told you, we need four things: AWS bucket name, AWS region, AWS access key, and AWS secret key. So we already got the AWS bucket name. Now comes AWS region thing. So to get AWS region, just click on the properties, and in the properties you will be able to see your AWS region. So just we already got our AWS region also. Now we need our AWS access key, AWS secret key. So for that, in the dashboard, we need to go to the IAM here, and yeah, so you need to go to the IAM part. So after clicking on the IAM, you can find IAM under the security, identity, and compliance section. So just click on that, and then go to the policies. Here you can see there's a policy option. So just click on the policy. Now below you will get an option to create a policy. So just click on the create policy thing, and then in the services, like there this window will open, and in the services you need to choose S3 thing. So just choose S3, and in the actions thing you can see in the list option, checkbox the list bucket part, and after that we will go to the read section. So in read section just click on the get object, here you can see, and again as just check box this the get object in the read part, and after that in the write section we need to check box two things, delete object and put object. So one question arises like why we are doing these things. So here we are defining what kind of operations can be performed in the objects of S3 bucket. So we have like first listed uses the list bucket, so it will list the, as the name indicates, it will list the bucket, and then we want the users to like read the object of S3 bucket, so that's why we are using the get object in the read part. And we also want users to perform like delete and put objects. So using the delete object, user can delete a particular file of S3, or if a user want to upload a file, then he will use like this put object. Put objects will work here, so this will help to upload the file. Now after doing this, in the resource section click on the add ARN thing. So after adding ARN, here you can see it asks for two things, bucket name and operation name. So as I told you that we got our AWS bucket name, AWS region, so just use your AWS bucket name here, and after that in the object name section choose star, and here click any. This defines that user will have access to all the objects of this particular bucket. So this is what it says, and just click on add. After that in the object name section click on, in object name section check the checkbox here. This is what we need to choose star and just choose the this anything, and then we need to add the ARN. And after adding the ARN, now here comes add your bucket name in the bucket name section. So in the bucket name section add just your bucket name and then click on add. So here you can see this is the window. What we have done so far is we have created a service for S3. We have listed what kind of actions has been performed. So in list there will be a list bucket. In read, user can get the object from the S3 bucket. In the write, user can delete the object, put the object on the S3. And in the resource section here you can see the bucket and object thing. Now just click on the next tag thing. After clicking on the next tag, click on next review. After reviewing, this window will open in the review thing. So here in the review policy you need to add the name of the review policy. Just add your name here, and after that adding the name click on create policy. So after clicking on here in the create policy thing, here you will see your policy has been created. So by far, so what we have done is we have created our S3 bucket and we have created a IAM role which defines what kind of functions can be performed on our S3 bucket. So and now what we need to do is we need to define who are the users who are going to access our S3 bucket. So this one is the pending thing that we will do right now. So after your policy generation, we will go to users thing in the IAM access management. Here you can see user. Click on the user, click on the add user option. So we will add who are the users who are going to access our S3 bucket, and then we need to define the username. So here you can see I have just defined demo cloud app thing, and after that we are going to give the user the programmatic access, And if we give the programmatic access to the user, it enables a access key id and secret access key. These are the two things with which were pending, so we will get these two things. So now click on the next permissions, and after creating the permission, clicking on the permissions, we will go to like in the next in the set permission section, click on the attach existing policies directly tab. Here you need to click on here, and after clicking here you can see like the filter thing here, because it will like pop out a lot of the policies and things. So if you want to get the policy associated with your S3 account, so you need to just like filter here, like just try to add your bucket name, bucket policy. So just I have just filtered it out, so I got my demo file cloud app bucket policy. So just checkbox this, select this policy, click on the next tab, and now click on next review. So after that, here you will see an option to create a user. So just click on the create the user part. After creating the user, you will get AWS access key and AWS secret key. Because of these are very like critical things, so do not share your AWS secret access key with anyone, because like it gives permission to S3 bucket. So that's why I'm not like showing this AWS access key and secret access key here. So just click on close. So you will get your like AWS access key and secret access key. So as you can see, we got our AWS access key also and AWS secret access key also. So we got all the four things which required for our application. So now this just explains like create a bucket, which I already explained you. And we have already configured the IAM. So we have performed like the list bucket permission, get object, delete object, put object thing. And we already did these things. And after getting through the user configuration, we got our AWS access key and AWS secret access key. So yeah, now comes the code and implementation part. So in the code and implementation part, as I told you, we are using S3 bucket to store files, and there are four operations that can be performed to our application. These four operations are upload a file, delete a file, download a file, and a list the uploaded files. So this is a file application, and I have made this application using like the Visual Studio Code IDE, and it has two parts, client and server. So the client application is the front end part, and this application has been made in the client part has been made in the React, and I have used little bit of HTML also inside the React itself. And in the server part, I have used like Node.js and Express.js and AWS SDK, and yeah, and these four things, as I told you, we will require. So we right now we already have our AWS bucket name, AWS trees, and AWS access key and AWS secret key. So these four things we are going to use in our application itself. I will show you in a bit. So yeah, so like this application has been divided into two parts, front end and back end. This is the UI application, front end is the UI part, and the back end is the server part. So if you want a complete source code, you can go to my GitHub. So this is my GitHub link. And apart from that, if you want like the detailed configuration thing, step by step explanation with like screenshot, you can go to like my GitHub readme.md files. So I have explained each and everything in detail. Yeah. So now in the front end part, we are using React and HTML, and we are using XOIs. Why you're using XOIs is because XOIs are used to like create a API request to the server. That's what is the advantage of using XOIs itself. And the front end API will receive the user input, and then after getting the user input it will send to the server. So this is the screenshot of like my code, but I will explain you my code in detail. So yeah, here you can see this is the client part, and in app.js, first like I've imported whatever the things that required in my application like React and XOIs. And after that, like let's go here in the, yeah, in the HTML part. So let's first like try to upload a file to S3. So what happens is, uh, here user will get an option to select their file, and then user will click on the submit button. So after clicking on the submit, it will just go to the like this part here, and again in the post, again here it will call to the post image function. So here you can see the post image. So in the post image you can see the actual file this is the parameter for the file to come. And after receiving the file, here the XOIs will call the post with the post thing. It will call API slash insert to the server. So here we are calling this part is basically calling the server function to perform actions on the particular file selected. Now let's go to the server part. So in the server, first we have like I have like created all the dependencies like requiring express, and then I have explained the I have like used course and body parser, multer, uploads, path and all. So I will explain these things later on, but yeah, let's first, yeah, what happens here is we are using a .env thing, so it will create a kind of environment variable. So that's why we are using .env thing. So because of security reasons, I am not going to show like this .env file, but in my .env file there is my AWS bucket name, AWS bucket reason, AWS access key, and AWS secret access key. As I told you, these four things are very critical for our application, so I have stored that in my .env file, and I have just called process.env, AWS bucket name and AWS bucket reason and all. So this will have my, this variable will have my bucket name, this variable will have my bucket reason, this variable will have my access key ID and secret access key. And as I told you, I am using AWS SDK also. So yeah, yeah, here. So here you can see I have already used a variable, and I have like here explained to require AWS SDK. So this will import AWS SDK libraries and all, and this is the object. So what we are going to use in our code. So we will create a like S3 object here, and this S3 AWS SDK, this is provided by the AWS SDK, and .s3 function will have the region, this is the region will go here, and the access key and the secret access key. So this S3 will have my region also, my access key ID also, and my secret access key of my bucket also. So yeah, and as I told you that this is the like post method, and here it will call API slash insert, and API slash insert will come, I will call this function. So after here it will receive like in the index.js, this is the server part. So this will receive the file, and after receiving the file it will, yeah, it will like use the await function, and this will wait for like the performance of performing like the upload file in the S3. And yeah, and now, yeah, and same here we have defined like what are the uh, it will call the upload file function, so it will wait for the upload file function to finish. So this will call again this function upload file, and in upload file, like each and every operations like upload, delete, download, or get the files from S3 have their own like required bucket parameters. So for upload, it requires the bucket name, body, like the file stream, what kind of file stream it is, and the key is the, here we have used like file original name as the key. So these are the upload parameters. And now, using this upload parameters here, s3 is the object we have created here, that as I told you, it will have the region access key and secret access key. And now this will like call the upload function of s3. And if if it then it will like validate these things. If validate like the bucket name, bucket region, access key and secret access key, if that is fine, or if that is matching, then it will just give a success, and our file will get uploaded to s3 part, s3 bucket. Yeah, similarly this again, this also happens with like the, here you can see the delete thing, sorry, download thing. So in the download function, we want a key, we have provided a key represents here which file are we going to download. So that's why here this thing receives like what files I'm going to download. And again, it will go to the download key, it will call this function, and this function will again call xjoys.get api slash download with this key appended to it. So this will call the server thing, and now server will this method will respond to that request. Now this method will again have, like as I told you, that download parameters may be different from the upload parameters. So for download parameters, we need the bucket name and the key. So using that thing, we will use like s3.get signed url. So get signed url is basically like performing the aws lambda function. So it will get a particular url from s3, object url from s3, and it will help to like download the file, and it is very secure. So get signed url is very secure, so that's why we're using s3.get signed url for download purpose. Same goes with the delete thing. So in delete also, we need to define what file exactly are we going to delete. So here it will get the delete thing or delete key, and again it will call the delete api here. So using xjoys.get, it will call api slash delete of like the server. So now it goes to the server part, and here it will perform the delete thing. Same goes with the like get objects also. So in the get objects also, here you can see, yeah, s3.get objects will like get all the objects from s3. So that's why we're using this get object. One more thing, I am running the port on like the 5000 or 5000. And in one thing I want to discuss, here in the package.json of the client. So let me go there. So in package.json of client, I have used a proxy. So one question comes like how it knows like where should where like how the client knows where is the server running. So here that's why I have used the proxy thing here. So proxy here I provide like you need to listen. This is the client part, client package.json. So in the client I have mentioned that you need to listen to this port, and this is the link. This is like the link where you need to like uh, where you need to like send the request or receive or listen to this thing. So yeah, so whenever, since in the package.json I have mentioned this is http slash localhost slash colon 5000, and in here you can see, let's say api dot insert. So this will create a whole url like http localhost colon 5000 slash api slash insert. So this will create a whole url, and then it will send the request to uh, like the server thing. So yeah, this is my code. And yeah, one more thing like one more thing like let me show you like running my code. So here you can see I'm in the client folder. So in the client I will just perform npm start, and in the server I will use npm run dev start. So why I'm using npm run dev start in the server is because, so in the package.json of the server you can see I am using the nodemon. So I will explain what this nodemon exactly does. So using nodemon I do not need to like refresh my server, and here I have explained that this is my server, like index.js is my server, so you need to start it here. So that's why I've used start here and the dev start nodemon index.js. So it will refresh my server each and every time whenever like there is any changes to my code. Yeah, so now let me show you running the project. So first we need to like run the server thing, and here you can see running on the port 5000. Now go to the client folder in another terminal and just run npm start. Yeah, so it will take a moment and then it will run. So yeah, this is my application running on the local host. So here you can see this is like 3000. Now let me show you like uploading a file. So let me, yeah, so if I want to upload flower1.jpg, and now I will click on submit, and then what happens is like again this request goes to the server, and server interacts with like s3 or and IAM role itself, and then it will get response from the server. And one more thing, like here you can see it gets like you can see certain files it already stores. These files are already stored in my s3 bucket. That's why it is able to like show files like car1.jpg pdf test, such kind of thing. So these files are already uploaded. So let me like refresh. Yeah, it takes a moment, just a second. So let me upload this. Sometimes like it takes some time to upload the file. Yeah, here you can see the flower1.jpg is the name of my file. Now I have submitted. I guess I have not submitted it earlier. Yeah, so yeah, here you can see my flower1.jpg has been uploaded to my s3 bucket, and again using the download function. So if I want to download the key, so this is the file which has been downloaded. And again if I want to delete this file, so I will just click on the delete, and it will like delete the file from my s3 bucket. And when and yeah, and you will not able to see like this file in the console itself. So this is the code. You can see success and all. So, let me refresh. Yeah, so you can see like my file has been deleted from my s3 bucket itself. So I have already shown you running on the local host. And sometimes, yeah, one more thing, it takes a bit time, like to go to the S3 bucket and perform action. So yeah, it takes sometimes like 1 second or 2 seconds, such kind of thing. Yeah. Now I have explained the code, and yeah, in my index.js is my server. So in my uh, index.js I have used like express, course, body parser, file, fs, multer, uploads, and path. I will explain like why I'm using these things in my server itself. So express, what express does is this will help to create a server that listens to the request made by the front end. So that's why, since my application is, as you can see, it is running on the port 5000, so here it will listen to the request from the client side. So that is the use of express. Why we are using codes? Because it is like it provides us connect express middleware. So that's why we are using this codes thing. And we are using body parser because it provides like certain factories required to create a middleware. So I'm also using my body parser. And multer, so this multer is important because multer is used for handling like multi-part form data, and this is mainly used while while we are uploading a file to our S3 bucket. And .env, why you're using .env? Yeah, so as I told you, you can see here, here is my like .env folder. In .env folder I have my bucket name, AWS reason, AWS access key, and AWS secret access key. So the .env thing is used to like load the environment variable and to the present .env file into the here you can see .env. So the contents of .env file will be used to load into the process.env thing. So that's why we are using .env. And nodemon, why using nodemon? Because using nodemon we do not need to, like, whenever I make any kind of changes, I do not need to like auto refresh my server and run it again and again. So that's why nodemon takes care of it. So that is the advantage of using nodemon. And AWS SDK, so it will call like the APIs of AWS S3, like upload, download, delete, such kind of thing. And we're using AWS Lambda to get a signed URL from the in the server side. So we get the object URL with AWS Lambda thing. So I already explained this thing also. Now I showed you like how running my app locally. Yeah, now comes the part, the deployment part to Heroku. So to deploy our application to Heroku, first, like, either you can write Heroku login here. First you need to actually go to the folder where your application has been located, with like CD download, such kind of downloads and all, where whenever where is the application location of your application location. So you go to the that folder, and then we can do two things here. Yeah, we can do two things. First one, either we can do like the Heroku login from our like terminal itself here, or we can just like log into the Heroku. Like here I have just logged into my Heroku account, and then I will go to my like folder wherever my application has been located, and where my application has been located here, and then I will perform these operations. So Heroku login, and then I need to it shows the Heroku create, Heroku like name of your application. So here Heroku create, and here you need to provide the name of your application. What is the like whatever the name you are trying to like name your application, so that we need to perform. And one more thing, so since as I told you, these four things are very critical, like AWS bucket name, AWS region, AWS access key, AWS secret access key. So we need to write these things in the config itself. So this is the advantage of using Heroku. So Heroku provides like Heroku config, and where we can set our like .env variables. So here you can see in the .env file. I'm not going to show you because of security reasons, because it contains my like AWS bucket name, region access key, and secret access key. So here you can define each and everything, like AWS, what is your AWS bucket name, and using Heroku config set AWS bucket region. Here you need to provide your AWS region, and again Heroku config set. These are the commands basically. Here you need to provide your AWS access key, and for config set, here you need to provide your AWS secret key. And after providing these things, you need to go and run Heroku config. So Heroku config will help you to check the variables, like whatever the variables we have wrote, either it is right or wrong. So you need to check that, and if you want to check it, you can perform using the Heroku config in the terminal part itself. And now it's uh, y- yeah, so some of the additional changes configuration needed for like our application to deploy the Heroku itself. So what we need, so since when you here in the GitHub, yeah, so first initially what I did was I made a client folder, and then I made a server folder, and then I made my application. The application run fine, but when I tried to deploy it on Heroku, I got a problem. So what my problem was that Heroku was not able to like get the no, root files, and it was not able to like know what is the language I'm going to use in my file. So for that, to resolve that, I just created a I let the client folder be itself, I let the client folder as it is, and for the server part, whatever the contents of the server were, so I just took that part and posted them in the home directory itself. So in my code also, you can see in the filed application, this is the client part, and these are the server part. So to make Heroku read my server part, and to make Heroku know what language I'm using, so I have to just use the home directory, and in the home directory I've used the server thing. So yeah, and again go to the one more thing, like I have to go to the React client folder code, and after going to the client folder, like after going to this folder, I had to run npm run script build, and after running that, in the package.json json of express.js, I had to write Heroku post build cd these things. So this helped me to build the thing. Yeah, so I have used again the port I am using. Again, add and use the port env variable in your index.jsp, index or express server. So this part you can see is defined in my code here in index.j. So I'm listening on the port 5000. So app.listen this thing, and yeah, and again we need to provide the build path. Why are you using this? Because we need to make client interact with like our server, so in the Heroku. So for that I have used this build thing. Here you can see app.use express static path.join directory name client slash build. And the proxy thing I already showed you, the I have used the proxy thing. So yeah, so this is the proxy thing. And after that, now after doing these operations, just we need to like push our code to the Heroku. So how this is the command to push our code to the Heroku. So again, like go to the terminal thing and run these commands, and after running these commands to push the Heroku, we use this git push Heroku main thing. So it will like push your code to the Heroku itself. And when you will like use the Heroku open thing, then you are able to like open your like running application. So let me show you that. And so in my case, yeah, so this is my application which has been deployed to Heroku, and it will take some time to refresh. Yeah. And you can either open like use like Heroku.open, or like you will get the URL. So just open the URL and you will able to like see your application. So yeah, my application has been opened. So let's try to upload a file. So let me upload this file, car2.jpg. And again, like same goes like with Heroku application itself. The client side, like the React application, will contact the server, and server will again try to contact the S3 bucket. S3 bucket will check its configurations and user thing with IAM, and then it will be able to go to the S3 bucket, and then it will be able to upload the file itself. So yeah, so since I've uploaded the file, let me refresh. I think it takes some time, let me check. Yeah, so this is the car2.upload, I think. And here you can see I've given the option of download, delete and all. So yeah, so sometimes like it takes time, like 1 or 2 seconds to like. Let's try to upload one more file. Yeah. And here we can, let's like, now let's try to check whether like our file has been uploaded to S3. And you can either like see your AWS console, or also like what AWS S3 bucket, like which files has been uploaded. Sorry, this is the local host here. Yeah, let me upload yeah, this thing. And in this application here you can see I have shown you the screenshots of also the application running on Heroku, and application running on like screenshots of like files that I'm trying to upload and download now. Yeah, yeah, so here you can see sometimes it takes time to upload a file. And again, let's try to like download this file. So you can see this file has been successfully downloaded, and let's try to delete this file. So yeah, it will take some time to delete also, like 1 or 2 seconds. So it takes time to get to S3. So yeah, you can see this files has been deleted itself. And apart from that, the outstanding feature of this project is that this project can perform upload, download, delete, and view the list of uploaded files to the S3. Now, our application supports all file formats, so I'm able to like upload. You can see JPG, PDF, .txt. So I'm able to upload any format. So our application is independent of the file format itself. And apart from that, our application uses Multer. So in the server side, you can see our application uses Multer. So Multer like performs is used to it allows like a big file size upload, and you uses like multi-part internally. So that's why it helps. And NodeMon, so as I told you, with NodeMon I do not need to like auto refresh my server when I during the development mode. And apart from that, our application has been hosted on Heroku. This thing makes like it's very easier to access from anywhere. And then our application uses like upload file asynchronously in the backend, leaving the front end free for other operations like while the upload is in the progress. So while upload is in the progress, I can use like other operations also. So yeah. And this application uses IAM roles. So using IAM roles, my S3 bucket policy is more secure, and I can control like the permissions to my S3 bucket itself. And apart from that, we are using AWS Lambda function. So this Lambda function, with the AWS Lambda function, I'm able to access the get signed URL part of like the S3. So this get signed URL part provides a signed URL for all the objects uh, configured to my like S3 bucket itself. So using this get signed URL, user cannot like directly download the file by using the S3 bucket by giving the name of the file of the S3 bucket. So that's why this is very secure. The get signed URL makes very secure download operation. So yeah. And the future enhancement is we may like add individual user authentication account support. So individual by using this, individual user will be able to like create their own account and get individual space for their files stored, uh, file application and such kind of thing. This would take like far too much scope and scope for the current project and seeing the timeline itself. So that's why it would require integration for database also, like to keep the track of the users and their files. And apart from that, we may add like the view functionality without downloading the files. So user will be able to see the files instead of download without downloading it. So this again, like this will require like different browser extension support for like Mozilla, Chrome, Safari, etc., for different file formats. And this will be like required in the front end React application. So this is basically like cloud projects, and this is beyond like the computing project scope that we right now have, considering like this is basically like the front end React extension feature. So yeah. And what were the like development process and challenges that we faced? First thing what we faced was with our CSU East Bay AWS Educate account. So initially like we were trying to use like the AWS Educate account for our secret access key and those things, like secret access key, and to get like our access ID and all. So because of that, since AWS Educate account provided by our like university, uh, the AWS itself like required to be a root user. So since we were not the root user and we didn't have like the administrative privilege, so that's why we were not able to configure to like AWS CSU S3 account. So fix this uh, to fix this we need to like use our personal AWS account itself, which has our like root user permission. So this is how we fixed it. And apart from like one thing, as I told you that I found a difficulty while deploying it on Heroku. So it like provided the build failure. So initially, because the like client, here in the code you can see the client, and there was a server folder. So the client and there was a two different folder, client and the server thing. So Heroku was not able to like read what's the language being used. So it provided build failure. So to resolve this issue, so the server side code, I just used those things on the home directory itself, and I provided the proper dependencies between the client and the server using the build thing. So this is how we resolve this. And apart from that, after deploying the app on the Heroku, React client was not able to connect, like, yeah, so it was not able to communicate with Node.js Express server app, because since like the same code was running on the local host. So yeah, here you can see the APIs. So here initially we have like written our like HTTP localhost colon like 3000 or 5000, whatever the port was. And then from here we provided the direct URL to like listen to the server side. So it was not able to like listen and get like information from the server and while deploying on the Heroku. So to resolve this issue, so let's go to the package.json of the client side, and here we have written the proxy. So this will say that this will define like on the local host on 5000 the server should listen itself. So in the app.js, it will get like localhost colon 3000, and if I deploy it on Heroku, then it will get the Heroku like http Heroku URL and then API slash download thing. So so to resolve that error, we like added the proxy thing. So this was the development and changes challenges, and these are the references that we used in our project. So yeah, that's it, and thanks for watching. Thank you.